We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Thousands protest in Ukraine to say no surrender to Russia.
З тим, що вони зробили без нашого дозволу 11 березня, що ми
Mali hails a day of joy after abducted Western couple is found alive.
Aujourd'hui, c'est un jour de joie pour les jeunes qui viennent d'être libérés. C'est un jour de joie pour leurs familles.
The crisis that continues to worsen in central Mali. Hong Kong pro-democracy Occupy leader is freed from jail.
當然都係艱難嘅，但係我係完全冇後悔。
The other war, treating the wounded of South Sudan's community gunfights. Streets of Cairo are flooded after heavy rains hit the country. The White House releases precision memo. President Donald Trump tests negative for coronavirus.
Have that problem. Somebody comes up to you, they put their hand out, you probably tend to.
Plus, tips on how to protect yourself against COVID-19.
And water. Then sing your ABC. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I'm Ace Ramirez. More than 10,000 demonstrators gather in front of President Zelensky's office in Kiev to say no to any possible Ukrainian capitulation to Russia over the situation in eastern Ukraine.
що ми не згодні з тим, що вони зробили без нашого дозволу 11 березня, що ми втратили 4 тисячі кращих синів і дочок на фронті для того, щоб зберегти Україну, щоб вона була сильна, вільна.
Реально с Россией нельзя договориться. Но мы видим по всей истории развития. Единственный вариант – это боевые действия. Ну, будем честны с собой. Турция уже достаточно четко показала, как с ними работать.
Разом! Ні! Нормандії! Без Криму!
The head of the UN mission in Mali hails a day of joy after a Canadian woman and her Italian partner, who had been kidnapped in Burkina Faso in 2018, were found in good health in the northwest of Mali after fleeing their captors.
Je crois qu'aujourd'hui, c'est un jour de joie pour les jeunes qui viennent d'être libérés. C'est un jour de joie pour leur famille, pour leur pays. Fêtons-le avec eux. On aura tout le temps de parler de ces différentes tractations, comment on a géré, comment on les a accueillis, comment on a informé les autorités maliennes.
Avoir eu le courage de se libérer quelque part, d'oser partir, il fallait le faire. Ils l'ont fait. Et cela a été heureux.
Tedith Blaise and Luca Tacheto, both in their 30s, managed to escape near the northern city of Kidal on Friday and were taken to the local base of the UN mission in Mali, known by its French acronym MINUSMA. The pair were then flown out on Saturday afternoon on a special plane to Mali's capital, Bamako. They appeared in good spirits but seemed taken aback when greeted by the Malian, UN, and Canadian officials with extended elbows. The pair were then informed about the coronavirus crisis and the new social etiquette. A health official sporting a mask and protective gear then took their temperature. The couple, who were wearing white t-shirts, did not speak to reporters. They were then due to be taken to the presidential palace before being repatriated. Malian Foreign Minister Teobil Njami said at the airport that no ransom had been paid. He said, and I quote, "I can assure you that nothing was paid." MINUSMA mission head Muhammad Salih Anadif explained some of the details surrounding their reappearance. Anadif said, and I quote, "We have good news. Yesterday, around 3 in the afternoon, our Kidal staff informed me they had found two hostages, a Canadian and an Italian. He said, and I quote, "We have conducted medical tests. They are keeping really well, and we let them rest." The pair were dressed like Tuaregs and apparently stopped a passing car and told the driver to take them to the nearest UN post. There was no detailed information on their escape or the identity of the kidnappers. From preliminary information, they must have managed to escape. They were picked up by a civilian vehicle which drove them to the MINUSMA camp. Blaise from Sherbrooke, about 100 miles from Montreal, and her partner Tachero from Venice disappeared in mid-December 2018 while traveling through the West African country. According to Blaise's family, the couple were driving by car to Ouagadougou from Bobo Dioulasso, from then more than 360 kilometers west of the capital, when all trace of them was lost. They had been planning to go to Togo to work on a humanitarian project. In April 2019, a Burkina government spokesman said the two had been abducted and probably taken out of the country, but that they were not in any danger. Burkina Faso, which had been a safe destination for years, has been racked by jihadist violence since 2015, and several foreigners have been kidnapped. An Australian and a Romanian national still remain missing. Central Mali has been caught up in a whirlwind of violence for the past 5 years, and Mamadou Lamine Diop, who heads the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, in the region, is well placed to observe that the situation continues to deteriorate.
Le problème n'est pas que militaire. Il faut globaliser le problème. Les humanitaires doivent jouer leur partition, les politiques doivent jouer leur partition, l'administration aussi doit jouer sa partition. C'est cet ensemble-là qui va faire en sorte que la paix des cœurs, la paix des braves peut se faire ici à Mopti.
After years of ethnic massacres and unrelenting jihadist attacks, Central Mali has been left a harrowed area of deserted villages and displaced people. An Islamist insurgency erupted in the north of the vast West African state in 2012, claiming thousands of military and civilian lives since. But the violence has since swept into the center of the country, as well as neighboring Burkina Faso and Niger, inflaming ethnic tensions along the way. Central Mali is now prey to tit-for-tat killings and routine jihadist attacks. Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced. Mamadou Lamine Diop, who works in Central Mali for the United Nations Refugee Arm, said the situation has not stopped deteriorating. Armed groups coming from the north found fertile soil in an area riven by long-running land disputes, often between herders and farmers. A jihadist group active in the region led by radical Fulani preacher Amadou Koufa has also increased suspicion of his ethnic group. In response to jihadists, traditional Dogon hunters have formed so-called self-defense groups, adding to the tension. Diop said, and I quote, "Every day, word gets back to us of an extremely serious incident, explaining that people are displaced after each one. Many Fulani villages now lie empty. The displaced congregate in central Mali's large towns, such as Mopti and Sévaré. Out of 200,000 people displaced by Mali's conflict, half are located in the country's center."
Iwannomi to himɓe ne keddino caggal on ko heddino caggal on to ko fuu an wayi hono fuu dobiti kam arde wari caggal joni an wayi ko ardi kam yaltuto heewa ile jaltum to warde joni du mi yiyay ko ɓoyti hen wiya ko huɓɓiti banni noon ne iwri ko ngarum ɗo wadde joni an ya hitande.
In other news, Chan Kin-man, veteran Hong Kong pro-democracy leader and sociology professor, is released from jail after serving 11 months for his role in organizing a wave of peaceful protests 6 years ago. He's greeted with applause and cheers by dozens of supporters outside the city's Pick Uk prison.
咁監房嘅日子當然都係艱難嘅，但係我係完全冇後悔，冇一刻後悔，因為我覺得呢個係爭取民主必須要付出嘅代價。而我相信香港人呢，經歷咗過去嗰幾個月之後呢，更加明白呢點解我哋當年呢要走到去用公民抗命。
His jailing last year came just weeks before Hong Kong was engulfed by much larger and more violent pro-democracy protests that raged for 7 straight months. The rallies and clashes have largely died down, partly due to exhaustion and high arrests, but also because of the emergence of the new coronavirus. But protesters have vowed to keep their movement going until their core demands are met, including an independent inquiry into police brutality, an amnesty for the more than 7,000 people arrested, and fully free elections. Up next, the other war, treating the wounded of South Sudan's community gunfights. Streets of Cairo are flooded after heavy rains hit the country. The White House releases physician memo. President Donald Trump tests negative for coronavirus. Plus, tips on how to protect yourself against COVID-19. Eagle News will be right back. Stay with us. You're watching Eagle News, broadcasting from Washington, D.C. I'm Ace Ramirez. South Sudan has a new unity government, but violence unrelated to the civil war rages on between communities. Thousands of armed men from the Nuer and Murle communities have been fighting in Jonglei, an eastern state, since February, leaving towns in ashes and untold dead and injured. Koba Nagako is waiting for surgery in South Sudan's capital, Juba. Rival herdsmen attacked his group while they were resting, just as they prepared to raid cattle themselves. Different communities are fighting over land, livestock, and revenge, a separate conflict from the 6-year civil war that has just ended. 3 of Koba's companions were shot dead. The 20-year-old was lucky to survive, though seriously wounded. Koba was airlifted from the eastern state of Jonglei to this military hospital, which has a special ward run by the International Committee of the Red Cross. It is one of the few in South Sudan equipped to treat gunshot injuries. These patients need multiple rounds of surgery to put their bodies back together.
The injury on the chest, it might go into the lungs, it might cause bleeding into the lungs, and if it's on the left side, it might even hurt the heart, and they might die instantly. But most of our patients, thanks God, they are lucky and they survive these injuries.
After months of talks, President Salva Kiir formed another unity government with his rival Riek Machar in February. Almost 400,000 people died in their struggle for power. But as the war wound down, last year the number of gunshot patients spiked by almost 20% in international Red Cross clinics across South Sudan.
Vast majority of the patients that we treat here are patients who've suffered gunshot wounds, and they're either involved with the ongoing conflict or just with general violence that exists, particularly in the cattle community. And the most recent influx of patients we've had have been involved with a raid on a cattle camp in the middle of the country.
A lucky few gunned down in the bush are airlifted to Juba. The rest take their chances at local clinics or simply bleed out in the field. Meanwhile, the clashes show little sign of ending. Political peace may have come to South Sudan, but the road to peace between communities is still long. Prime Minister Mustafa Mabuli said Friday heavy rains and flooding have killed around 20 people in Egypt in what he described as some of the worst weather in decades. In a statement posted on a government Facebook page, Mabuli said the bad weather had killed around 20 people nationwide. Mabuli said, and I quote, "Egypt has not witnessed such weather conditions in some 35 or 40 years." A security official said earlier Friday, 5 people died in Zaraib, south of Cairo, when their homes were swept away, adding that rescue workers were looking for more victims. The Akhbar El Yom Daily reported on its website that in Cairo, 2 people were electrocuted and killed. The bad weather was also blamed for a train crash in the capital on Thursday, in which 13 people were injured. President Donald Trump has tested negative for the novel coronavirus. His physician said Saturday, following concerns over his exposure to a disease that has caused many to fear. President Trump agreed to the test after coming in contact with several members of a Brazilian presidential delegation visiting his Florida resort, who have since tested positive for the virus. The president's physician, Sean Conley, said in a memo, and I quote, "This evening I received confirmation that the test is negative." 1 week after having dinner with the Brazilian delegation at Mar-a-Lago, the president remains symptom-free. 73-year-old Trump had dismissed concerns over his exposure to the disease, which has killed at least 51 Americans and upended the rhythm of daily life across the country, with millions working from home and schools shuttered. New York, the most populous U.S. city, saw its first coronavirus death on Saturday, as store shelves were stripped bare after days of panic buying. Vice President Mike Pence on Saturday announced a further restriction on travel to the United States, saying a travel ban imposed on European nations over the pandemic would be extended to the United Kingdom and Ireland Tuesday. President Trump advised against non-essential travel and said officials were considering imposing travel restrictions within the United States. President Trump declared a national emergency on Friday, freeing up some $40 billion in disaster relief funds. Later Friday, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill, crafted by Democrats in consultation with the Trump administration, to provide billions of dollars for free virus testing, emergency paid sick leave, and family leave related to the epidemic. Supported by President Trump, it is expected to easily pass the Senate next week.
Thank you.
People from across the country share with us easy steps they take to help protect themselves from contagious diseases like COVID-19. Let's take a look.
Gary Taylor, and I'm 65 years old, and I've just been doing a lot of healthcare kind of things, like keeping everything clean around me, stuff like that, to prevent any other bad things to happen.
This is Arlene, and I am from Fort Washington, Maryland. Because of the spread of the COVID-19 virus, my family and I have been practicing extra measures in trying to protect ourselves. One of these things is frequent hand washing and making sure that it is for at least 20 seconds and in warm water. Another thing that we've been practicing as well is, instead of handshaking, we will now be fist bumping, elbow bumping, or even bowing to those that we are wanting to greet, most especially with the elderly. Also, we are now carrying the antibacterial wipes so that when we are in public places and where we need to wipe down, we have those handy on us. And lastly is actually having hand sanitizers on us wherever we go. These things I've mentioned, majority of them, we actually already practice them regularly. It's just that now with the spread of the virus, we will be more vigilant in practicing these, and we'll do them more frequently.
Hi, my name is Robin. I live in Porter Ranch, California. At work, I protect myself and my coworkers from the coronavirus by disinfecting my telephone and my desk surfaces with sanitizing wipes, and I use on my hands for a clean workspace and use elbow bumps instead of handshakes. Continue to stay informed and don't panic. Always follow the advice of your local health officials.
Hi, I'm Chaima Sadka from Waldorf, Maryland, and to fight against COVID-19, I always wash my hands for 20 seconds as frequent as I can, and I always have hand sanitizer with me, and whenever I cough or sneeze, I cover it with tissue and throw the tissue in the trash.
So some of the things I do to protect myself from COVID-19, or better known as coronavirus, is that whenever I sneeze or cough, instead of covering my mouth with my hands, I cover it with my elbow. And another thing is I wash my hands for about 20 seconds or more with soap. And one thing to keep in mind when washing your hands is that you've got to get in between your fingers. And lastly, I try to wash any surfaces I often touch, so that goes for doorknobs, countertops, a guitar, and many other things.
EJ Gonzalez from Washington, D.C. And with the rapid spread of COVID-19, these are a couple of things we do in our household and in our work environment in order to keep our surroundings clean. We constantly wash our hands or use hand sanitizer. We also wipe down any frequently used items, such as our laptops. Always keep tissue in case we need to sneeze or cough. And once we're done, make sure we throw that away. And we also take our daily dose of vitamin C in order to boost our immune system.
Hi, I'm Lyle and I live in Maryland. I protect myself from coronavirus by washing my hands for 20 seconds and using hand sanitizer before doing anything.
Hi, I'm Estella. And I'm Elise. And we are high school students in Maryland. One way or a couple ways that we protect ourselves from the coronavirus is always washing our hands and making sure that our phones are clean so that we could prevent getting this disease.
I'm Janelle from Fairfax, Virginia. To take measures to avoid the coronavirus, my husband and I have been avoiding public places and also taking extra measures in our homes by washing our hands diligently, steam cleaning our carpet, and wiping down all countertops.
Hi, I'm Liam James. I live in Maryland. I protect myself from the coronavirus by washing my hands and not touching my face when my hands are dirty. I also pray to God that my family will be safe from the coronavirus.
My name is Renette from Burtonsville, Maryland. How do I protect myself from coronavirus? In as much as I don't want to panic about this virus, I am now more aware in washing my hands frequently. I try not to touch my face. I try to stay away from public places if necessary. I stay away with people who are sick, and most importantly, I stay informed and be aware of my surroundings.
Hi, my name is Camilla Malawicki and I am 23 in Burbank, California. These are the steps that I take to prevent myself from the coronavirus. So I just make sure that I wash my hands regularly, making sure I get under the fingernails and just all parts of the arm as well to make sure that everything's safe and clean. I also will do the same for my desk or anything I touch. I will make sure I sanitize with sanitizing wipes. I also take immune pills to help with my immune system. It's a preventative measure just to make sure that nothing coming in is gonna affect me. I also just make sure that I don't panic or freak out, just because to me, if I'm taking all these steps, I know that I'm gonna be safe.
Hello, I am John Rodney Mangona, 33 years of age from Woodland Hills, California. At work, I protect myself and my coworkers from the coronavirus by wiping down my desk areas and telephone with disinfectant wipes, washing my hands constantly for 20 seconds at a time to avoid the spread of any type of germs. Remember to always stay informed, don't panic, and to follow the instructions of your local health officials.
Here in New York City, to protect myself from coronavirus, I always make sure to carry a hand sanitizer with me. And if I'm going to take public transportation, I carry a napkin so that I can use this to hold the pole or railings when I'm traveling.
Hello everyone, my name is Frenzel Feheran. I'm 36 years old from Washington State. To protect myself from the coronavirus, I like to implement many things on a daily basis. Two of my favorite is to, one, every time I wash my hands, I make sure I wash them very thoroughly for a minimum of 20 seconds each time. And I also like to make myself a nice glass of vitamin C water to enjoy. Frenzel Feheran, 1 with 25.
Hi, I'm Walter. I'm 5 years old and I live in Florida. So to not get sick, you should wash your hands. First soap and water. Then sing your ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Then you wash them with water. Then you dry them. I'm Walter and I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks everyone. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I'm Ace Ramirez. I'm 1 with 25.